artists that were here were from somewhere else. They were all from New York, somewhere else. I don't know of any that were born and raised in Miami, and when I got here were in their 30s or whatever. That wasn't the case. They were all from somewhere else. They were from Cuba, or they were from somewhere in Latin America, or they were from New York. And in those days, there was an implied negative to that, in the sense that the local was the most damning. Like if you had an exhibition of local artists, it was death. It was, these were sellouts or not really serious. None of that was true, but that was the air around it. Some of that had to do, I think, with how strong New York was as a force. So for me, leaving Philadelphia as an artist and coming to Miami instead of New York, absolutely a sellout. Absolutely could not confront the real world, the game. So as a result, there was an air of that around. So there was a group of good artists, serious artists, committed artists. I don't think studio space was inexpensive, but most of them, had some money from something, and either they taught or whatever. So it wasn't this kind of, it wasn't like in New York, you have so miraculously you can get a space. It wasn't even acknowledged that it was a big deal to have an expensive. Nobody went to bad neighborhoods to get cheap space. You could go to good neighborhoods and get cheap space, or have it in your home or something. I don't remember that being much of an issue. Every artist that I knew had somehow or other had the means to have a decent space. But again, by the time I got here, they were in their 30s, I would say. So they were decently established. They taught, they did something in the community. And they were mostly American. The next thing that happened, the next rift, was the Cubans that came. So the Cubans that came were ferocious and opportunistic and had a very different background. And so they came and they were voracious, and they took the community by storm, and there was cachet for all that. It was like, Cuban artists, exile artists. This was and Latin American art. By coincidence, the New York market had crashed a bit economically, and so Latin American art was like an opportunity for collectors. So here come all these Cubans, and there was a big rift between the Anglos that were here and a lot of jealousy, I would have, if I had an exhibition of a Cuban artist, only Cubans came. If I had an exhibition of an American artist, only Americans came. And the Americans were quite resentful of this interest in the Cubans.